From Hollywood, time once again for Money TV. I'm Don Baillargeon. Thanks for joining us. Money TV is a program all about money and what makes it happen. California is the USA's most populated state, somewhere around 40 million people. But that number is going to balloon upwards in 2022, and not for reasons you might think. Governor Jerry Brown recently signed into law a bill that will ration water usage by Californians to 55 gallons of water per day per person. Now, this is the same Governor Brown who declared the drought in California as being over just last year. The controversial rules are targeted at water districts to cut per capita water usage, but in order to meet the goals, those cuts are going to trickle down to the customers they serve. So people in California are going to have to choose between doing laundry, taking showers, or, God forbid, flushing their toilets. 55 gallons of water per day per person. Now, an 8-minute shower, that uses about 17 gallons of water. A load of laundry, up to 40. And a bathtub can hold 80 to 100 gallons of water. Let's not even enter into the discussion the subjects of swimming pools, hot tubs, water features, and lawn sprinklers. On average, urban Californians, especially those located in hot regions, use 90 gallons of water per day per person for just indoor use. In 2013, that number stood at 109 gallons. Cutting that back to 55 gallons is not going to be easy. Now, perhaps rather than restricting consumers, the government could start with, say, the government. How often when driving through California have you seen broken sprinklers resembling geysers or sprinklers running in the rain? Additionally, up to 30% of urban water supplies are wasted due to unrepaired leaks in the infrastructure. So here's what's going to happen. To beat the system, California is going to experience a virtual population boom. A family of 4, they're just going to say they're now a family of 6 or even 8. Dramatically increasing their water allotment. What's the state going to do? Perform bed checks in every single household to determine how many people are actually living there? How's that going to work? Look, I get it. Water is a precious resource, but typical government foolishness trying to solve a complicated problem with a simple solution never works. Now here's something that always works. Our toll-free number, good from anywhere in the world you're watching the program, 888-259-4449. That's to get free information about our featured guests. When you do call, be sure and ask to be added to the subscription list of our Money TV newsletter. It is also free. Again, toll-free from anywhere in the world, 888-259-4449. Visit us at MoneyTV.net, and please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Well, our first guest this week's joining us in studio, Mr. Riggs Eckelberry. Riggs is the CEO of Origin Clear Incorporated, OCL, and is their stock symbol. Riggs, welcome back to the program.
It's great to be back.
Well, great to be reinitiating coverage of the company, a new series of interviews, a very exciting company. In the last series, we talked about such an evolving situation. What's the latest since we last spoke?
Well, you know, we've been sort of in stealth mode for a few weeks because what we've been readying is the launch of WaterChain with a whole executive team. We've now incubated this amazing water coin for about 6 months now. And, you know, it's a whole world. This coin world, I don't know how much you know about it, but it's pretty amazing.
We've had a lot of companies that have been involved with it, so it's an exciting, exciting development in the financial aspect.
It is exciting. So I call it the second internet,
right?
You know? And so we see this water coin if you go to originclear.com and look at my CEO updates, the most recent one talks about this.
Okay.
There's an opportunity here to do what Uber did to the cab industry,
right?
Which is, yeah, they broke the cab monopoly, but in the same process, many, many more people got into the business as small entrepreneurs,
exactly.
Right? Well, we need to do that in water. Water today is in a terrible shape worldwide. Here in California, the U.S. infrastructure is broken. It's going to take a lot of money to fix. Not going to happen anytime soon, right? Our government is so together, right?
They're working so well together, aren't they?
Exactly. So what we need to move to, and the water industry agrees, is to more of a self-reliant, fix the problem on the ground where the problem exists.
Exactly.
And through a water coin, we can create a whole new generation of water entrepreneurs who could solve the problem in addition to the big centralized sites that already exist. And there's a great analogy where you have a bucket that's full of water, and that's all the central water treatment in the world. And another bucket has a small amount of water, which is the new decentralized ones.
Okay.
That bucket, once it's full, will be as large as the central.
Well, I was just talking about water in the monologue and talking about governments taking a complicated problem and trying to solve it with a simple solution that never works.
Yes, and how do you solve something simply? The complicated problem, how do you really solve it, is through delegation.
Right.
Right. Look at mainframes. Always had, you had to wait. You're too young to know, but you had to wait. You had to wait your turn.
I really like you, Riggs.
You had to time sharing and all that. So then PCs meant that, yeah, it was maybe less efficient, more machines, but more availability for us.
Right.
And so it solved all that problem of machine availability.
Exactly.
And it created a huge $1 trillion industry. So we have the same thing in water, where centralized water is not fixing it. Let's not try to solve it centralized. Let's solve it distributed.
Makes perfect sense.
Now, water chain, as I was saying, is moving towards launch, and we had a major event this week, just Monday on the 18th, where we welcomed all of the advisors and water industry stakeholders to the kickoff of the Water Chain Consortium.
Nice.
Because we don't want to just come in and start, tell the water industry what you need to know. No, we want this to be a collaborative thing. And so we took some video, and you might want to take a look.
Let's take a look at that right now.
Water Chain, as we launched it, was good, but a fraction of what it could be given the scope of the water crisis in the world. And people have an intuitive sense that something's wrong, but in fact, things are really in a bad place.
And so you guys are a big part of what will be ultimately the solution. So we see blockchain as the connecting kind of components. And so we have some very smart technology people in this room and part of our team. And that's really where we see the ability to make a difference and do something unique. In real estate, they say it's, location, location, location. And startups and technology company, it's team, team, team. We're gonna see where the existing units are that are providing water, where there's water sources that are currently off-grid that can be connected through a blockchain together, and then where there's a demand and a need for it, where the dark areas are, if you will, or the dry areas.
Not necessarily we're going to go out and buy a bunch of water, or we're going to go get a bunch of water, or clean a bunch of water. This is the system that gets wherever it came from, however it came from, and start building a market.
And the nuances are actually great for us.
So this is the technology part. So this is the blockchain, the smart contracts, which are the cryptos. This is kind of the technology piece. This is the fundraising, where we have capital markets and digital currency markets. This represents that, and hopefully there'll be some capital raised for this. This is the actual business. This is the water chain business. You can't go store genomic data in a blockchain. It ain't gonna happen. I can put a reference to it, whack server name / share name / file.pdf, and I can put that in a database.
And now you're developing, which I've learned from Reese, this massive amount of data, which is really a valuable asset. And so what I like is creating those, and we'll create an algorithm around this that does all this. And then the Forum Exchange, I love the partnership thing. This is huge.
Bunch of guys that got together at Cape Canaveral, and they said, hey guys, how do we make a spaceship travel through space? And I said, hey, let's dip into each orbit, pull out enough gas, and we can turn it into a fuel, and the ship never needs any propulsion. Next thing you know, Orion's up there cruising around Mars. Things happen, when you really get a bunch of guys together to think about it.
Okay, I'm a consortium member. I contribute data, and I have a certain amount of rights to access data, but I don't have the keys to the kingdom necessarily. Is there a way that we can...
You just slice and dice that stuff.
You can separate who has access to it and how they use it, and provide keys separately to it.
Thank you all for your time. Really appreciate it. It means a lot to me because everyone in here has a big billing rate, and I know how valuable you guys are. So thank you again, and we'll get this going again in the future.
David, thank you.
Or the peace sign too is another one to do.
Well, Riggs, that is some amazing footage.
What you see there in this room is these top people really focusing on how to create an economy, tokenomics as we call it, around water and a water coin, and it's really happening. I was blown away, and they all said, uniformly, and we'll be coming out with all the one-on-one interviews over time, that they were blown away by the quality of the people in there and how much momentum it had. I was sitting there going, you know what? This thing's happening.
Yeah.
It's rolling.
Well, business people get things done as opposed to the government, which just seems to do a lot of this. So it's really encouraging.
And there's so much momentum in the crypto world behind this. What I like about it is, now that we're rolling out WaterChain, you'll be hearing more about that, but also we get to focus on our core business, which is booming, and I want to tell you about that next week.
This is going to be an exciting series. Once again, Origin Clear, OCLN. Stick with us the next several weeks. This is going to be fun. Riggs, thanks so much.
My pleasure.
Joining us now on the phone is Will Ralston. Will is the president of SinglePoint Incorporated. SING is their stock symbol. Will, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Don. Thanks for having me.
Well, now on a scale of 1 to 10, things for you guys right now are a 10 because you finally filed your Form 10. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we're very excited for that. You know, it was a long, arduous process, but we got it done. There's a lot of company history, so there's a lot of stuff to review and go through. But, you know, we've got a great team here, and everybody really put their all into this. And we're all very happy that we got it filed. It's another check on our box that we're able to say we've completed, and now we're going to continue to move on to the next thing. So, but with the Form 10, what we're excited about is it really opens up for, you know, family offices, institutions, and those larger players to help get in and get a position and actually start having that conversation with us. So we've already had calls with a couple different groups, and we're actually going to be heading out to NEBA in New York in the middle of July. So we'll be presenting there, which is a big family office and institutional investment forum. So very excited for that.
Well, there's a lot of people at NEBA that you can talk to now that prior to filing the Form 10 really couldn't have a conversation with you, right?
Exactly. Before, everybody wanted to talk to us, but because we were pink and non-reporting, they weren't allowed to because of their bylaws and different things like that. But now that we've filed that Form 10 and we're getting that transparency that everybody wants to see and building that credibility for the company, they're very excited to have these conversations with us.
Well, let's review a few things that we've talked about in the last several weeks. How are things coming along on the acquisition front?
Acquisitions are going great. We actually have a definitive agreement that's being reviewed by our attorney right now. So we're actually getting very close to wrapping up one of them. The other one we're going through due diligence and getting an audit done on. So we're moving those along. Again, it's all been about timing, and we're moving as fast as we can. But at the same time, sometimes we're like, well, we need to make sure that this is timed, you know, right for the company and right for the acquisition. So we wanted to make sure to get that Form 10 done before moving forward with these acquisitions. But now that that's done, it's full speed ahead on getting these acquisitions up and that revenue ramped up.
Now, are you still targeting potential companies for further acquisition activity down the road?
Yes, we are. We'll be looking for some more and some bigger deals because as we grow and as we get more transparency and that credibility, you know, we want to start ramping up to larger deals.
Now, I know you have the ad campaign with Kevin Harrington probably just ready to launch here any day. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, so we've got everything is ready to go. The commercial is ready to launch. There's no changes. The commercial's done. And now we're wrapping up the wallet, and we just got word back. Had a big meeting on Monday, actually, this past Monday, and we were given a timeline of about 10 days. So once that 10 days is up, and what we're wrapping up, just so you know, is we're pushing out being able to actually send Bitcoin. So we've built this from scratch. It's very easy to build an application to receive Bitcoin, but then the actual sending it to a new wallet is where it gets tricky and complicated. So we're finishing up that last piece of it. Our team said it'd take about 10 days, and from there we'll do probably a week of testing. So I'm hoping that within the next 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to start seeing those commercials come out because they're already approved, they're ready to go, and we're just waiting to make sure that when we tell you to go download the app, that it's fully functional.
That's fantastic. Once again, the company is SinglePoint Incorporated, SING is their stock symbol. Will, fantastic update, lots of activity. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Don. We're super excited, and go Sing.
Does this sound familiar? Turned down for a mortgage? Credit card interest over 20%? Didn't get the job you wanted? The problem is your credit score. Unsure what your credit score is? Call the Advocacy Network, 321-947-3220. Talk to Carl. He can help you regain your financial independence. Change your life today. 321-947-3220. Talk to Carl.
Have you heard the news? There's only one flat-fee news distribution network on the market. It's called AccessWire, and it's exclusively from Issuer Direct. Any day, anytime, the AccessWire News Network can deliver your press release to more than 1,500 media outlets in 98 countries. AccessWire also delivers real-time engagement analytics. You will learn who read and shared your press release and more. Best news of all, getting started is easy. Visit accesswire.com and extend your company's news reach today.
We are back. Thanks for staying with us. I'm joined on the phone now by Dr. John Whitney. John is the CEO of a company called XLinux Inc. Their stock symbol's ITRO. John, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
We're really glad to have you, and I've noticed that there's been a couple of press releases here in the last several days from the company. What's going on?
Well, on May 18th, the U.S. Department of Interior announced a list of 35 minerals that are critical to the U.S., and 3 of the metals that we recover from e-scrap are on that list. The metals are tin, antimony, and palladium. And so in the United States, we'd be the only recoverer or producer of tin from e-scrap, and possibly in the world. So we become a critical minerals producer.
All of a sudden you become a major player.
Tiny business, but yeah, big potential. Yeah, right.
And I noticed a couple others. Why don't you tell us the other press releases as well?
Yeah, the other news is that we bought a grinder to grind the e-scrap, and the objective was to increase the productivity of our furnaces. And so we did a temporary installation of the machine, and we are now producing between 50 and 80% more metal per melt. And the variability is due to the variability of the metal content of the feed materials, but at least a 50% increase in the capacity of the furnaces by doing the grinding. And so that's a big deal for us.
And you still have zero waste at the end of your procedure, right?
Correct. It's a brand new zero waste technology.
That's just amazing.
All of the feed material gets converted to either silver bullion or silver-bearing glass, both of which are being sold.
That's amazing. Once again, the company is XLinux Incorporated, ITRO is their stock symbol. John, I've always said you've got to be one of the greenest companies around. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, you're most welcome.
Take care.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Joining us in studio now is Mr. John Hollister. John is the CEO of Imaging 3 Incorporated, IGNG is their stock symbol. John, always a pleasure.
Hey, Don, thanks for having me.
You know, I thought because we picked up a number of new affiliates, especially in Canada, that have not seen the program before, not seen you before, thought we'd do a review of what Imaging 3 is all about. Tell us about your business model.
Absolutely, and congratulations. It's great to have more viewers. Imaging 3 is a medical device company. We're a very disruptive technology. We're an X-ray that does something very unique in that it's a low radiation source device that can produce real-time three-dimensional images. And what I mean by that is, in addition to two-dimensional, what people are used to with an X-ray when you see a bone, we can do that, but we produce 180 of those or more in a second. But our device can actually turn that into a three-dimensional image of that same whatever target you're looking at. And in addition to that, it can actually slice it like a CT does, so that a healthcare professional could actually slice through and look at particular places inside of whatever their target is, which makes it very unique. And importantly, this device is a portable device. It's going to be about 150 pounds when it's fully said and done. It will roll around on wheels. It runs off of household current, so it could be anywhere in any clinic. It doesn't require a lead-lined room around it. It's just a simple O design that can be altered in terms of its angles and positioning. And it could be in a small village in sub-Saharan Africa working off a Honda generator. It could be in a clinic anywhere that does musculoskeletal, It could be for women's health. It could be a whole huge potential uses.
So no special infrastructure is required. You don't have to build a special room. And as you said, it operates on 110 power. It can be wheeled anywhere. They could have it on the sidelines of an NFL game. Guy gets injured, they know exactly what's going on almost immediately.
Exactly. And you know, in the near term, that will be the use for it. It will be used for what we think of as X-rays. As physicians and healthcare practitioners start looking at the three-dimensional use, they'll start finding other ways to apply this technology, but it does it in a second, which is really remarkable, and that image is immediately available to them. I mean, literally. In the future, as we look at it being used in a continuous manner, where the X-ray is actually running in a continuous fashion, you actually can have the potential for real-time three-dimensional imaging for the use in surgery, potentially, downstream. So that's very exciting in the future, but in the near term, we're very excited about the commercial potential for the demand.
Has the company made any determinations from the competitive landscape? I mean, I know X-ray machines cost a lot of money, MRI machines cost a lot of money. Do you have an idea where your machine is going to place as far as the competitive landscape on a cost basis?
Right. So it should be very price competitive in the world of what are called fluoroscopes, where it comes from, which is the lower end, less costly devices you often see in emergency rooms. And our device works a little differently in that it's real time. The current technologies, you take an image from 12 o'clock. The image is above the target, and then it's the X-ray source is moved 90 degrees one way or the other to get a second image, and that's how they get an image. In our case, the radiation source circles that target very quickly, and there's no need to reposition anything. It just does it in a second, which is fabulous, with a very low radiation source. So that is one end of the market, but we actually produce these CT-like slices, like the very expensive high ends that require not only a couple of $1 million device, so a very large capital investment, but also a room to house that device, which in and of itself costs $1 million or $2 million. And you know, it has to be in one place. You have to bring people there. There are a whole bunch of issues. And while that still has very important applications, what we see our device being able to do is take some of that area in terms of use and utility value to the clinician at a much easier, much more rapid access.
Now, usually in business, when you build a better mousetrap, you put it on the market, you start selling it. But of course, in your particular case, being a medical imaging device, you have to go through FDA approval.
Correct.
Almost out of time, but how's that coming along?
So we are excited about working with our new partners called the Experian Group. Very important, they're medical device specialists. We've begun the process of planning out what that looks like. And you know, it's a few months of compiling the data. We have some tests that have to be done. We've done half of the work that's necessary, the software side of it, but now we do the hardware side of it. So we're excited about doing it and looking forward to, you know, our goal is to submit the application sometime in the latter part of this year. So we're working busily towards that.
Exciting times.
Yeah.
Once again, Imaging 3 Incorporated, IGNG is their stock symbol. John, thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Don. Appreciate it.
Joining us on the phone now is Tom Djokovic. Tom is the CEO of XLinux Incorporated. XSNX is their stock symbol. Tom, welcome back.
Hey, Don, thanks a lot for having me back.
Well, there's been a lot of activity, especially in California in the solar industry. California issued a mandate that sometime soon all new construction of homes is going to require some degree of solar installations. This must be good for the industry overall.
Oh, it's great news for the industry, Don. It really is. And then, you know, we primarily focus on the commercial solar side, and that side happens to be growing substantially right now. We're seeing a major uptick in bid requests and new jobs as well.
Well, that's the thing that I was talking about, because what we're seeing now, I guess, is the government acceptance of solar, the consumer acceptance of solar. It's all starting to gel. It's all kind of consolidating.
Yeah, yes, it is. I mean, we're seeing projects that customers we spoke to 1 to 2 years ago, we're now circling back around or saying that they've decided that now's the right time. And in addition to that, we're getting new phone calls. So we're just seeing an overall increase in market acceptance and interest for solar, especially on the commercial side for us, where we're really very, very, very pleased with what's going on.
Now, of course, one of the things that you specialize in on the commercial side are solar canopies or carports or truck ports. How is that activity generating?
Oh, it's great, you know, and what's really nice about the solar carport business for us is we encounter, well, let's say there was a church school the other day that was looking for a price. Their roof wasn't anywhere near big enough for the amount of solar they needed. We were able to go ahead and provide them an alternative to go ahead and build, shaded parking structures in the parking lot and get them 100% of the energy they needed. So for us, it's just really a major advantage because it gives us flexibility to come in and give them a good price and options to go, any direction that they select.
And you can offer them the options as well of electric vehicles, charging stations, and solar storage, solar power storage as well, right?
Absolutely, Don. You're right. We see more solar storage projects we're bidding now, and also we're getting more requests for the EV chargers. That's a good point you made there. The EV charger market's definitely starting to, we're starting to see more life there. It was, I'd say it's probably about 100% increase in requests for that for us for EV chargers.
Well, I've always said unless your electric vehicle is generating its power or its battery input from renewable energy, you're really kind of not really accomplishing anything.
Well, that's a good point. I spoke with a client just the other day. I mentioned to him that we can now offer solar inverters that have built-in integrated vehicle charging capabilities so that when they're charging during the day, it's directly going through, from the solar panels directly into the car battery system, which is pretty cool.
Almost out of time, Tom, but what do you think? Where do you think the solar industry is headed in the next 2-3 years?
Oh, it's just going to continue to grow, Don. I mean, the price has come down to a point where it's pretty stable. We're seeing a little bit of increases because of some of these steel and aluminum tariffs, but it's not unreasonable. A lot of the Chinese manufacturers are actually moving their facilities onshore here in the U.S. to avoid the tariffs. We're going to see prices probably start to come down again. So we're pretty excited about the future potential for our business and the sector we focused on.
Once again, the company's XLinux Incorporated, XSNX is their stock symbol. Tom, congratulations on all the activity. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Don. Have a good day.
You too. On this week's Money Wrap radio program, we're going to talk about what everybody else is talking about, the problems at the border. If you listen to the radio station online or find a radio station near you, go to moneywrap.com. Call us right now, 888-259-4449 for information about our featured guests. When you do call, be sure and ask to be added to the subscription list of our Money TV newsletter. It is free. It's an email publication, so we will need your email address. Again, 888-259-4449. Visit us at MoneyTV.net. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. That's our show this week. As always, we'll be back next week. Thanks so much for joining us.